Corsair Stock Analysis. What's going on, YouTube family? How are we doing today? Welcome into today's video. So I started looking into the stock a little bit last week and I figured what better thing to do than to make a video on it, right? So here we are in the video of Corsair stock. The gaming industry is really an industry I see up and coming. I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think it's a pandemic type thing. I do think it's going to be around for a while. It is an industry I do have I really want to get involved in it basically. I really want to get involved in this industry. I don't know exactly where or when I'm going to get involved in it. I think I'm going to hold off for a little while for a lot of different reasons. Mainly because I got some more work to do in the industry. I want to be a little more up to date in the industry. And I'm looking to a few more companies in this industry before I finally decide to buy into it. And before I pick which stock, which company I want to invest in. Anyway, hope you guys get some value out of this video. If you do, please drop a like on the video. That really does help out the channel massively. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, what the heck are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. And as always, guys, make sure you're doing your own research and your own due diligence because I'm just some random guy talking to a camera. So, like I said earlier, Corsair Gaming is the stock we're dealing with today. That's the stock on the agenda here. This stock's just over $40, around $40. I'm not sure where it is at the time of you guys seeing this, but at the time we film this, it's just over $40. This is a newer company. They IPO'd back in September of 2020, and like we talked about just a couple of seconds ago, this stock is part of the gaming industry, which is valued at $151 billion, or was valued rather, at $151 billion in 2019. This industry also is projected to grow with a compound annual growth rate of 12% from 2020 all the way up until 2027. And for those of you that aren't familiar with what a good annual compound growth rate is, basically if you see like a compound growth rate between 5 to 10, that's considered like good, that's above average. So 12 is very good, 12 is very, very good, and it's above average, and it's just really solid in general. Corsair is a leading global provider and innovator of high-performance gear for gamers and content creators. Our industry-leading gaming gear helps digital athletes, from casual gamers to committed professionals, to perform at their peak across PC or console platforms, and our streaming gear enables creators to produce studio-quality content to share with friends or to broadcast to millions of fans. We design and sell high-quality performance gaming and streaming peripherals, components, and systems to enthusiasts globally. Corsair has served the market for over 2 decades, and many of our products maintain a #1 US market share position. We have built a passionate base of loyal customers due to our brand authenticity and reputation as provider of innovative and finely engineered products that deliver an uncompromising level of performance. So basically with Corsair, they have 2 main elements to their business model. The first being more so gamer and creative peripherals, which includes like high-performance gaming keyboards, mice, headsets, and controllers. In that category as well, they also have streaming gear, including capture cards, studio accessories, microphones, and among other things. This segment last quarter actually increased 90.9 million, or 128.8% year over year. This was mainly due to the strong growth that they saw in their Elgato brand streaming products. And the thing I really like about these products in this segment is they can be used for other things in addition to just gaming. So for example, work from home, that's very important right now. If you have a podcast, you can use it for that, so you can use it for work. And you can use it for a lot of different things besides just solely gaming, which I really like, which could really make a big difference here, and maybe why I actually end up investing in this company one day. The second segment of their business model is more so gaming components and system. This includes like high-performance power supply units, or PSUs as most people refer to them as, cooling solutions, computer cases, and DRAM models, as well as high-end pre-built and custom-built gaming PCs, among others. This segment here was up 81.8 million, or 38% year over year, as of their most recent earnings. This company mainly sells their gear through both their retail channel and their direct-to-consumer channel. They did have a couple different acquisitions, such as Scuff or Origin, in 2019, and that helped promote their direct-to-consumer sales at the end of the day. Scuff mainly revolves around creating customized controllers and consoles for anyone who would like one, and honestly, I think this is a really good thing because on a serious note, I know a lot of gamers who are actually really interested in having their own customized remote, their customized console, those type of things, because it's cool. At the end of the day, it's cool, it's something unique, and it's going to be yours and no one else's at the end of the day. Origin, on the other hand, they specialize in hand-built personalized PCs, so it seems like they acquired this mainly to increase the quality of their products, which I think is a very smart move. I really do agree with the management team on that decision there. I think it has helped them based on what I looked into and how their products looked before and after that acquisition. And actually, in a recent interview with the CEO, who we're going to talk about in a little bit here, he referred to Origin as the Ferrari of gaming. Let that sink in for a second, guys. The Ferrari of gaming. And this is something I really like about this company. They're not afraid to keep buying out companies, not afraid to keep bringing in other dogs so that they can keep bettering their products and they can bring out more high quality products. And I think that goes a long way in the gaming industry especially. For example, PS5 just came out not too long ago. People were paying double. Say it was, I can't remember what it retailed for off the top of my head. Say it retailed for $500. People were paying $1,000 easily on Craigslist and eBay. easily to get that because they want it so bad. If you're gonna spend $1,000, you're gonna double the retail price and pay for that, you're gonna want the most top-notch accessories that go with that PS5, right? So this is just an example, but it applies in the gaming industry. It's the same principle. So they do get about 25% of their revenues from Amazon. So I decided, let's go on Amazon, take a quick look and view a couple of products and see what they look like and what their reviews got. So the first one we got here is Corsair Harpoon Pro Mouse. 4.5 out of 5 stars. And we're gonna go over a couple of reviews here for these few products. I've been looking for a decent gaming mouse, but also hate cords. No matter what people say about performance, I just can't stand being tethered to a cord, and most wireless mice just don't have a decent enough DPI. This one blows everything out of the water, as well as having a host of features. You can go wireless with RF or Bluetooth, or you can go wired with the enclosed cord that also serves to charge the mouse. The forward and back buttons are in a perfect spot. The scroll wheel has great traction, mouse glides nice, and it's not too heavy or light. This may not be the mouse for professional level gaming, but the average to above average user, this is the perfect option. Best of all, the price can't be beat. I've been gaming on PC for longer than I'd care to admit, and been playing World of Warcraft casual to hardcore rating and back since it launched in 2004. I've tried several wireless gaming mice over the years, and they always ended up disappointing me, largely because of the tracking issue, the pointer skipping across the screen or inaccurate pointer movement, just for example, as he provides, but also because of the battery. So I figured I have to just live with the wired mouse for gaming. For reference, I have been using the Corsair M65, which is great wired gaming mouse. Next up, we have the HS50 Pro headset. Also got 4.5 out of 5 stars. I originally purchased these headphones as I needed something that would connect to both my computer and my cell phone for attending online meetings at home. Keep that in mind, this is work related, that these products can be used for different things, not just gaming. The sound is very clear and I like the ease of adjusting the volume right on the earpiece, but the mic has a delay, so it is tough to get the attention of coworkers when you have a point with the delay. I estimate the delay is 2 to 3 seconds, as this is how long the pause is when I get a response back during a call. They also could be better at the noise canceling, but my home is pretty quiet, so this isn't a big issue for me. I don't use it for gaming, so I did not give that rating. So this guy doesn't even use it for gaming. That's a crazy thing. He's just using it for work. So keep in mind, all these products can be universal and you can use it for a lot of different things, like we talked about before. So therefore, they can attack a whole different industry, a whole nother network. They can branch out to more people. And chances are, if those people that work from home, maybe they have kids. If they have kids, maybe they're into gaming. You know what I mean? Trickle down effect. Who would have thought? Back to the review here on the headset. I used to daily drive a SteelSeries Arctis 3 and I thought they were pretty good, but after upgrading to the Corsair HS50, I realized what I was missing out on. These headsets have more bass and sound much richer in comparison, and the microphone sounds a lot clearer. Cover-wise, they are a bit tight at first, but I'm hoping they will slack off with some use, so it sounds like he just got them recently based on this review. At least they won't suffer from the same drawback as the Arctis 3 with the elastic band that constantly gets slacker as time goes by. Being priced $10 less than the Arctis 3, I highly recommend this headset over the SteelSeries. And then the last thing we're going to go over here is the K68 keyboard. Again, 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is a nice match with my Corsair Icon RGB mouse. I can easily select in solid color easily with the IQ software or just let it cycle away. The MX Cherry key switches are super nice. They aren't too clicky and are very responsive with a smooth texture on the keys. I came from a red K70 that got kind of beat up from a few spills over the years. It still works okay, but I figured it was time for a new one. The only thing I like better is the K70 has a nice braided cord and the DOS not. The lighting is nicer on the K68 RGB model, and the keys are easy to read with large lettering. I definitely do not regret this purchase and glad I ignored the negative reviews. If you want a nice reliable keyboard and looks great, look no further and pick one of these up. As for the second review, this one actually broke down the pros and the cons, so this would be a good way to look at it. Pros: linear keys with lower actuation force, which is nice and allows for quick international keystrokes. Wrist rest is a good width and is perfectly sloped for the keyboard height. Feels very nice to type on. Flexible lighting options with full RGB if you need that. As for the cons, keys are supposed to be quiet, but many of them, especially the spacebar, actually have a distinct metallic spring noise and lingers echoes when you release the keys. It's actually really distracting. One can only hope that it subsides after continued use. Okay, so again, we'll have to go back and see what happens there, I guess, one day. The height slope of the keyboard when the kickstands are extended isn't much height than normal. It's surprisingly flat. Row heights are way too similar. Great keyboards have the main 3 rows of keys stepped up in height so that it's easier to find the row that you need easily and adds a bit more separation of the keys, which prevents incorrect inputs. These keys are very similar in height, and it's been a bit of a pain to adjust. Key spacing is just a bit too tight. A couple millimeters would make this a much better experience. So something this company can work on. No onboard memory to store your color profiles. Now keep in mind here, I did mix a couple of negative reviews in here just so I wasn't overly bullish on this company. It wasn't apparent that I was super bullish on this company. I will say that the majority of the reviews that I did see on Amazon were positive. A lot of them were 5 stars, 4 stars, anything in that range. A lot of them were really positive. In their most recent quarter, they did actually launch some new products, so I'm interested to see what those reviews come out to be since they are newer. They launched 2 new headsets, a new hard drive, a new mouse, 2 new keyboards. In addition to that, they also do ship worldwide, which is also really hard to do. They're available in 75 countries. So it wouldn't be surprising me if this company did actually become the premier player in this industry. Now let's take a quick look at the balance sheet and then we'll get on to other things. We'll get into the pros and cons that we normally talk about, okay, that I see. Net revenue up $457.1 million compared to $284 million last year. Gross profits up over 100% to $127.9 million compared to $60 million last year. Net income is up to $36 million compared to $1.5 million last year. That's a really big increase there. They had about $160 million in cash during their last quarter compared to $48 million at the end of 2019. Total assets, $1.25 billion compared to just over $1 billion in 2019. No current debt. That is super surprising. No current debt. Total liabilities at $867 million compared to $842 million. And just to break down the revenue a little bit, 2/3 of the revenue does come from building gaming PCs and buying components, while the last third comes from more streaming and gaming peripherals. As for the CEO, just a little bit of quick background on him because I did look into him. I did watch some interviews on him. We aren't going to dive too much into it, but his name is Andy Paul. He founded Corsair in 1994, so this is a founder-led company. That is something I like about this company. It's not something that we're going to discuss in one of the things I like about this company because I've mentioned it so many times in so many different videos. I'm not really going to mention it again outside of this point right here. He was the former president of Multi-Chip Technology, and he held various positions, including sales, marketing, and in engineering departments at several different semiconductor companies. He has an honors degree in physics from City University, London, England, and he recently served as the mentor on the global social benefits at Santa Clara University. He also said he sees the peripherals as potentially the most successful products as the gaming industry grows and more people get into gaming. Very, very interesting point there. Very interesting. All right, guys, if you're still watching this video, we've officially gotten to the point where we get into the points where I really like about this company and the things maybe that I have some concerns about this company. But before we even get into that, keep in mind, as I mentioned before, this is an industry I still have some more work to do. I am by no means a master in this industry. I want to look into a couple more companies in this industry, a couple which we're going to mention here actually in a second, which is the competition. But make sure you're doing your own research, make sure you're doing your own due diligence, because I'm just some random guy talking to a camera in my living room when I could be doing 100,000 different things, like watching the Bruins, which I'm actually going to do once I'm done filming and editing this video. Anyway, so the first thing I really like is the industry itself. It's a growing industry. As a 12% annual compound growth rate, it's going to keep growing. I don't see it going away. We do have some risks we're going to talk about with that, but I don't see this going away anytime soon. I see more and more people getting into gaming. I just see this coming up. I really like the industry. I really like the growth rate. I think this has a lot of potential to grow. I like everything all around. Second, more people, as we just talked about, are getting into gaming. There's going to be more people buying keyboards, mouses, headsets, all those different things. And what do people do when they get into gaming? They spend money. Whenever you get a new hobby, whether it's skiing or whether it's gaming or golf, you're going to spend money because you need to get that stuff, right? On average, new gamers spend $1,000 to $2,000. $1,000 to $2,000 when you first get into gaming buying all this equipment. That's a lot of money. Now, the reason they had such great numbers in the past quarter was mainly because a lot of people were getting into gaming. Maybe it was due to the pandemic, whatever the case may be. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But if people keep getting into the gaming, they're going to keep spending money. And products are just going to keep getting more and more and more expensive due to inflation, due to all these other things, just due to better quality products. It's a fact. They're going to get more expensive. People are going to keep buying them because once you build a habit, it's very, very hard to break it, guys. It's very hard to break it. Trust me on that one. Next, the domino effect. So what do I mean by that? When more and more people get into gaming, what happens? Maybe their friends get into gaming, right? So it's you and I, all right? You and I'm a gamer, and I'm like, hey, do you play whatever? Do you play games or whatever the case may be? That did not sound like I know anything I'm talking about, but are you a gamer, basically? And you say, well, no, why? Like, you start talking about it, you get into it. Okay, now you're into it, right? You're into it now, and now we're playing, and I say to you, hey, I just got this new headset from Corsair, right? You should check it out. Maybe, do you want it? Do you want to check it out? Do you want to try it? So you come over to my house, and we're checking it out, we're gaming, and you're like, I really like this headset. I really want one myself. I want to get this exact model. So you go out and you buy that headset, right? Now you have a friend, the same exact thing happens. He's into gaming, right? So he's into gaming, he wants that headset. He also has a friend who wants that headset. And it's just a domino effect, just going down, 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 up, 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 however you want to phrase it. Basically, Corsair gets more revenue. That's the bottom line, that's the important thing. Another thing, come on. Last quarter's earnings, they were phenomenal. Net revenue up, net income up. Margins went from just over 21% to 28%. Phenomenal all around. Fantastic, fantastic earnings. It was a better quarter than I think anyone on that management team would have expected. They did a fantastic job. Very happy with that, very happy to see that. Another thing, so the Scuff and Origin deal. Fantastic. I love how they're bringing in other companies. I love how they're bringing in other people. I love it. I love it. They're going to put out more quality products because of these deals, I believe. I think that's a fantastic move. They also have a lot of other things that I'm not going to talk about in this video, but they do have some other things. You guys are going to have to look into that yourself. NVIDIA, AMD, look into stuff like that. They've got a lot of things in the work. It's actually a really big potential for this company. I really do like it a lot off of what I've read so far. Another thing, they ship worldwide. As we talked about, 75 countries. That's very hard to do. It's very hard to be able to ship worldwide, be able to afford to ship worldwide. I'm very impressed by that, especially in the gaming industry, because these products, they're not cheap to make, guys. They are not cheap to make by any means. So the fact that they can already ship worldwide in this early stages of the company, phenomenal. I think that's fantastic. I love everything about that. And the last thing we're going to talk about. So two of the main competitors which I found so far are Logitech and Razer, right? So if you combine Logitech, Razer, and Corsair, they make up approximately 80% of the market share. Approximately 80% of the market share. So even if they can just capture a small portion, like a tenth, like 10 or 20%, guys, come on. Do I even need to spell it out for you? That would be phenomenal if they could just capture that small amount of the market share. Absolutely, absolutely phenomenal, okay? This company could blow up. I really do like this company. There are some which we're gonna talk about in a second, but I am very bullish on this company. Like we talked about before, I can't buy it just yet because I need to research the competitors. I need to research the industry. I really need to have this vision, which we are gonna talk about this in a second. I feel like I keep saying that, but I really, really am bullish on this company at the end of the day. So now we're gonna look into the things that I'm actually concerned about with this company. And there are a few, not as many as some in the past, but there still are a few. There's always concerns, there's always risk with any company, with any investment, there's always gonna be a risk, right? So the first one we have here is EagleTree actually owns 78% of their business. So that's a concern for me because when I invest in a company, I want to invest in that company. So in this case, I want to invest in Andy Paul. I want to invest in Corsair. I don't want to invest in EagleTree. So that's something I'm really gonna have to sit down and I'm gonna have to look into and be like, is this risk really worth the reward? If I invest in Corsair and EagleTree per se, is that worth the potential upside of this company? So obviously that just comes with knowing the industry, running numbers, just have to put some more work, and that's the bottom line, guys. Secondly, Amazon makes about 25% of the revenues. What happens if something goes wrong with their relationship with Amazon? I mean, that's a quarter of the revenue gone right there. It's not as risky as, say, Cirrus Logic, where Apple, I believe, gives them 80% of the revenue, but it's still a risk. It's still a very big chunk of their revenue. Outside of Amazon, I don't believe anyone else made up nearly as much of that revenue. I believe it was all pretty well divided. So maybe they could, shadow it, or maybe they could just find a way to cover up that revenue that they're going to lose if anything ever went wrong with Amazon. But it's still a pretty big risk. It's something you got to take into consideration when investing into a company. Next, can they execute? Can this management team execute in this industry? So in any industry, but I find especially in the gaming industry, just thinking about it, because I sat down and I thought about this for a while today, you really have to execute in this industry. And why is that? Because, well, let's say you have a headset that doesn't work, right? And you're like, well, Corsair, this headset sucks, it's not working, whatever the case may be. So you just order a new one from Logitech. All of a sudden, wow, this one's great. Then that domino effect kicks in. Oh, you don't like that headset from Corsair? Try this one from Logitech. Try this one from Razer, and all of a sudden, Corsair is losing money left and right because they put out one bad product. So can this management team continue to execute, continue to put out great keyboards, continue to put out great headsets, continue to put out all these great things that people are going to want to keep coming back? And I don't blame people if Corsair puts out a bad product and then people don't come back to it, because if you're spending all this money on computer parts, on all these things, you're going to want high quality accessories to go with them so you can get the most out of your gaming. I completely understand that. I completely respect that. I know exactly where they're coming from. Next, the virus. So as they talked about in their most recent earnings, they saw a really big increase in first-time gamers buying products based on the products that were being sold the most, okay? So what happens when the virus eventually subsides? Does this stick? Do people continue to game? I really think people are going to continue to game because that habit is built. I don't see this going away anytime soon, especially that up and coming generation. I don't see this going away, but it is something you have to sit down and ask yourself, what happens if gamers do go away? What happens if these products don't sell and they sit on the shelf? What happens? It's a legit risk you have to take into consideration. And then on top of that, money competition. Now, what do I mean by that? So when there's nothing open, it's very hard to spend money on things, you know? But what happens, say, 2022, I don't know if it's gonna be in 2021, but 2022, everything starts to go back to normal. Bars are open late, you know, restaurants are open all the time. Are people going to want to sit home and game? Maybe they will. Maybe they will. I think some are. I don't think as like everyone is going to be. I don't think it's a slam dunk thing. So that's something you have to take into consideration. What are people going to want to do more? Are they going to want to go out and spend their money that way? Or are they going to want it home and game? That's something you really have to take into consideration. Another thing, and this I really need to think about hard if I'm ever going to buy this company. They're newly public. They went public, like we talked about, they went public in September of 2020. Usually, when I look at a company, I like to look back 3 to 5 years, usually a little bit more than that, but I would say 3 to 5 years the minimum to see what their net revenues are, what their net income is, what their debt is, what the management team's doing, how they respond in times of crisis. I like to look back at all these things just so I am very well informed about the company. But the problem is here, since they just went public in September, there's not that much information dating that far back. So am I going to be able to overlook that they really have not been public that long, that they haven't seen any public crisis per se, and just invest in this company? I don't know. I got to think about it. I got to look into the industry like I've talked about, and that just comes with a calculated risk, and if this risk is going to be worth the reward. And lastly, last thing I'm going to talk about here is I really would like them to pursue a little bit more of mobile and tablet gaming, because I do think things are going to start moving towards that, because I think kids like up and coming children, up and coming generation that are like 5 and 6 right now, I think a lot of people are really going to want to take it to go. They're going to be like, oh, can you drive so I can game? Like stuff like that. I really don't think that's too far off. But they said, the management team said they have no plans to look into that right now, but they said they might in the future. So we'll see if they do. It all depends. It all goes back to execution, guys. That's what it all comes back to. It all comes back to execution in any industry. And if you really can't execute, it's going to be really hard to make it in this business world. But anyway, guys, at the end of the day, like I've mentioned a few times in this video, this is just not a stock I can buy right now. And mainly it comes back to this. It comes back to the circle of competence. So I would say Corsair is like somewhere over here right now in my circle of competence. It's just outside of it. This is the area I feel very comfortable with. You know, so maybe like tech, like social media, stuff like that, or maybe like the food industry, stuff like that I feel very comfortable with, and I feel like I can read the 10K, read the 10Q, I can be like, boom, I feel really good about this, or nah, I'm gonna stay off of that for now. Corsair is just outside of it. Now, I could look into several other stocks in the gaming industry, like a Logitech, I could look into Razer, I can look into stuff like that, and maybe then this will be in my circle of competence, and I'll feel comfortable, and I'll be able to see that vision that Andy Paul, the CEO, is seeing. I'll be able to see that long-term vision, but right now, I'm just struggling to see that vision. I'm struggling to see where this company can go, what the overall like end goal is for this company. And if I'm really struggling to see that, and I can't see that right now, then I just can't invest in that company. But hey, not to say this is not a very good opportunity. I think this is a great opportunity. Make sure you're doing your research. Make sure you're doing your due diligence. Don't listen to me. I'm just a random guy talking to myself in my living room. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you did get some value to this, if you did enjoy this video, please like the video. That really does help the channel grow more than you would ever know. I actually never really realized how much it helps the channel grow until I started making YouTube videos. Now, I always hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button, please, so you're around for more videos. Let me know if you're buying Corsair. Let me know if you own Corsair in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video.